Also archive the recording for the city's records. I'd like to remind all attendees to be courteous and to keep all audience background noise to a minimum. Thank you. Official duty for the night. Good. All right. Roll call.
Hyatt.
Yes.
Flores.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Hayland.
Yes.
Okay. First up on the agenda then is the approval of the minutes from our May 2nd meeting. Everybody have a chance to review?
I'll motion to approve.
Thank you, sir. Motion, second.
Second.
Thank you, Dave. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Thank you. All right. Audience? Mr. Leonard, anyone else? Nope.
Not me.
All right, new business. Summer Parks and Rec. Terry, you're up.
Okay. Week of rec. Today we went to Sky Zone in Climb, Iowa. We had some 6th graders picket our Sky Zone first. It was kind of funny. Putting up with the heat. Most of them like that movie. A lot of our leaders cried during it, so did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have we're into our 3rd week. We have 129 participants. We had just under 90 participants for swim lessons, and that went 2 weeks and went really well. Art camp had their 3rd class last Friday, and we added the daycare, the Haley's Academy, so we actually have an art class for them in the morning. So instead of having 2 art classes, we now have the 3 art classes. So, and that's going really well. And I'm guessing you guys all have the calendar in your packet. That's everything we're doing.
So it's very well received and utilized, I think.
Yeah. And we're meeting up at the school this year, and that's really nice. So we had this, they actually let us into the school on the first day. As long as I fill out all the correct documentation, we can use the, we give notice. So that works out, yeah.
Logistically, is it going better than previous years?
Our biggest thing is we've always run into like location because we're growing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just too busy down. Last year we met out at the sports complex in between the tournament and everything. Things were kind of crazy, and that wasn't the best for pickup and drop off as we thought it might be. But the school, we follow the same. You know, they drop off in the drop off lane, and the buses pick up and over where the buses, you know. Yeah, it's a lot.
Any other issues?
Nope, no. So,
Great.
yeah.
You got all your you have your staffing needs, those are all.
Yeah, this year for our staff meeting, we did some like mock training. So they gotta be the participants on the bus and, you know, see how they were supposed to act and how they shouldn't act, and then at the pool and everything. So yeah, we have a great group of staff this year. So all of the leaders came back from last year, so that was really nice, and that helps a lot. We have all of our helpers are new, but all of our leaders are returning from previous years. So.
How many staff are there?
There's 16 if you count, and then I have an assistant director, so 14 that actually take groups, and then Stacy and I, and it works out nicely. Like today Stacy went to Sky Zone with the younger kids. I went to Climb Iowa with the older kids. And we both ride a bus and we don't have groups that we're having to worry about. And so,
Discussion about, because we had to raise fees a little, right? So has there been any discussion on that?
no, and to be honest, we had that May 1st cutoff. We didn't get many registrations before that May 1st cutoff. Most of them came in afterwards, so they paid that additional $25 fee with no
No
complaints.
questions? Okay.
So most of them paid $150 this year. So if we were to raise the minimum next year, I don't see that we will have
No problem.
a problem with that, so.
Well, hopefully we'll get them trained to get it in before that deadline the first time.
Yeah. We only had a handful that did. So, and we did run into, we had our hard deadline where we would not accept any more forms. We did have a couple of parents that complained, but, you know, you have
There's
to
gotta be a
follow the
cutoff.
rules.
Yeah, there's gotta be a cutoff.
Yeah, and I mean, I had to get things in, I had to get staff hired, I had to, you know, let our places know, and so.
We gotta do that.
Yeah.
Thanks. I was just kind of curious because I know it's kind of a big decision on our part.
Yeah,
to do that.
and Becky was good about, she was a hard nose when they would call and she'd be like, I'm sorry, you know, or if they would send them in, she'd call me and then she'd get a hold of them and say, you know, sorry. So,
There's gotta be a hard deadline.
yes.
Okay. Anything else or any other questions?
No, but thank you for your effort and work, and it takes a lot.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
No problem. I enjoy it, so, and I enjoy all the kids and, you know, having them, so.
I think we need some rec for adults pretty soon. I'm
not leaving it.
I want a couple weeks like this. Thanks for taking the time to come in, and again, thanks for all you do during the day. It helps out tremendously.
No problem. I enjoy it, so. Am I done?
We're all good. Thank you,
All right,
Terry.
thank you.
Just
Mr.
look-
Morse,
Yes,
Lakeside Linear Park update.
as you'll recall, a couple of meetings back, we did a walkthrough of Lakeside Linear, thank you, Terry. The park on Parker Boulevard between Phillips and Washington, and we talked about, you know, what we might think about doing with that park, and I said I would put together, oh, I forgot that was this is my donut. This is my thank you card that I got from the school for when they, and every year I get a thank you card. And the reason it's in the shape of a donut is, yeah, the tree guy likes donuts. That's the reason. Thank you. So,
Somebody pays attention.
yeah, somebody pays attention when we plant trees. Good job. So anyway, I went up to Lakeside Park and I did a walkthrough, and we'll go this way here with this. So here's Parker Boulevard, and when I walked through, basically what I was doing was looking at, you know, where's a clean path, you know, for the trees that we've got and so forth. And if you look at this up close, it's kind of confusing because some of these trees look bigger than they are because of the shadows. This is a big shadow here, so the tree's not that big. So this path that I've got here, and I've already run this by Public Works, my thought, you know, would be to put a mulch path through this whole park. Right now, we've got lots and lots of people that walk this sidewalk every day. Nobody uses the park. Nobody even knows it's a park. And there's no point in putting a sign in the park unless there's something there for people to do. That's my position. That's my thinking on it, okay? With this, obviously the cost of compared to mulch, and I get that mulch also requires some maintenance, but you don't have to plow it in the wintertime. So it saves a lot of winter cost as opposed to you know, putting concrete in. My thought on this, and these are 10-foot grids on here, so this is like 450 feet long, roughly, I don't know. This seems like a really nice path here for like exercise stations, you know? If we had a place out here, people are walking all the time. If we had a place out here where people could do chin-ups, a place where people could do stretches. I also thought about maybe down the road opening this up for community organizations, you know, maybe an Eagle Scout community information board, or something that tells about Polk City Parks, or something that tells about Polk City, or something that tells about how to exercise, how to do stretching, and those kind of things. But something to make this park look like a park. This proposal, the cost is very minimal. I got shop. There's some power poles up there that are available, and we put one up at West Side Drive Park, and the kids use it as a balance beam pole. It's, you know, 1.5 feet off the ground, so I mean, you're not going to get hurt. They mulched all around it and so forth. But anyway, so this is just something that I drew up as something that would be something to think about as to what do you guys want to do. The Parks Commission is charged with the responsibility to develop these areas. This got cleared at the time that we cleared West Side Drive Park, when that was kind of given to me, you know, to do something with. And at the time that we cleared that park, the city then cleared all this, and that's been only like 4 years ago. This was all overgrown through here, and as you may or may not recall, 2 years ago we had all these pines put in that came from Pine Ridge that were spaded in. They're all doing real well. We've got numerous trees here that have been planted. This area in here is a pretty wide open area, and the park goes clear to here. This area back in here is a real wide open area. Just, you know, a couple of thoughts. Things that have been thrown out in the past, and I know they cost money, but this might be an ideal spot for a skateboard park. I know it costs money, but it might be a place to do it. Information stations, workout stations, a path through the park, something to get people to use. Somebody's got some other plan for this. I think a plan needs to, you know, somebody needs to come up with something. So that's what I came up with.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, I think we all agreed that
Yeah,
path
we need to do
when we were out there, yeah. Now, the one thing we talked about when we were out visiting was there people were trimming their trees, throwing them into the park, and throwing their clippings into the park and all that. Is that, we're going to send them a letter?
I think it's better. I think it's better than it was, Sam. When I walked through up there, it's better than it was. I would be hard pressed to tell you that there's maybe not some of that still going on. You know, when we issues with it because they had a buffer between them and Parker, and maybe, you know, as a part of this, you know, to plant a line of shrubs or something down through there. If you planted some 5-foot high shrubs, some, you know, some lilacs or whatever, serviceberry, something to give them their privacy back a little bit, and shrubs again, you know, a huge deal. But anyway, I ran this by Public Works. They seemed okay with it. The mulch is obviously free. I don't personally want to take on the responsibility of laying it, but there it is.
It's good. I'm trying to think. We'll put the new playground in. I don't remember what the recommendation was for that.
I don't know. I know there were some safety violations or safety
Yeah,
issues.
not much of what we had over here.
So would it be the same issue over here, safety-wise?
Yeah.
You know, I'm just trying to think of what we currently have.
Remember exactly, but I
It
don't.
was maybe like the swings, I think, are going completely.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be, that maybe that little toddler structure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. It may not be a great spot for it, access-wise, but
but there would be a spot there to do something,
something, yeah.
at least.
You know, the thing about doing a mulch path in there is it's not permanent. Any day down the road, if the city hits the jackpot and has the money to pave it, you tear it up and put pavement in it. Or you do nothing at all. But nothing at all means mowing it, and that's all that's being done up there. We've got a really nice piece of green space that needs to have something done to it.
You've got the path that about 10 foot wide?
It is 10 foot wide. Yeah. And I mean, that's nominal, and that basically, that's so that they can get their Bobcat skid loader down through there to maintain it and so forth. The path up at West Side Drive Park is, I think I also did that at 10 foot wide. But there's ups and downs to mulch, there's ups and downs to concrete, but it's something. I think my understanding in talking to Mike and Randy is that if you guys say that you want to do this, all it probably takes is your recommendation and then your directive to Public Works to make that happen, and they'll do it. And what they would do and what they did at the other park is they round up it, they laid a mat, and then mulch them. And if you want rocks around the edges of it, I'm sure we could make that happen. If you don't, that's fine too. But I look at it as a place for exercise stations, or like I say, this area down in here, there's a lot of open ground.
Yeah, it gives you options at least to put something in there.
And they didn't cut it in or anything, they
No.
just laid right over the top?
Right over top. Yeah. Very low cost, low maintenance.
Well, we got plenty of mulch.
They got lots of mulch. They'd be real happy to get rid of it there.
So then would you recommend, as we've done at the other parks, identify it with appropriate signage?
Well, the discussion of signage came up when we took the walk up there, and I don't vote, but I don't think I'd have a hard time justifying a sign for a piece of green space that's got nothing on it. If you give something for people to walk through, now it becomes a park and it justifies a sign.
Well, this would be this would be a good first step,
Mhm.
that's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. And again, if you open it up to community organizations to say, how would you like to help out to, donate something, and anything that would happen has to come by you guys, whether it's, signs or workout equipment or whatever. I'm sure there's other things that I haven't thought of. But
Traditionally, are like benches and picnic tables, do a lot of people donate that, or does that come out?
We have, yeah, we've had those in the past. We've had some that were memorials. We've had some that have been purchased for a very little amount of money and they haven't lasted long. So I think we've kind of got to standardize, if I remember right.
Yeah,
we've
we
got
have
to
a standardized
bench. I don't know if we have a standard picnic table or not.
this would be a nice place for a couple of picnic tables. Parking lot never will have. It's a neighborhood park, which I think has kind of been the focus of a lot of the parks around the community.
That's what.
It's not Saylorville, it's not Big Creek, it's a neighborhood park.
The nice thing is it's a start for something.
Mhm.
So if we do something that's very, like I said, very low money, very low cost, low maintenance.
This is going to cost less than the sign.
Right. It's a start, and then now we can build on that. So,
That's exactly what I see. If you put that path in there, I'm convinced people will walk it.
Yeah, I
just
wondered,
It gets
see
them
what
off-
it is.
And it gets them a little bit off of Parker Boulevard. It's actually, to walk through there, as we know, it's scenic, it's better than walking on the sidewalk and having cars whiz by at 40 mile an hour.
could you put a counter or something on that? Isn't that the Mid-American deal, or is that the gas company that has the
This?
shed there?
Yeah.
Just some sort of counter you could actually see.
You'd count deer every night, but they're there.
They're using it.
They're there. Yeah, and they'll use it even if we put the path in, so.
I like the idea. I don't know if everybody else thought, but I like the idea. And like I
The
said,
first step is minimal cost. I like the idea of putting exercise stations, which would be down the road along that path, in some case. Yeah, I'd say let's do it.
is that a motion?
It is,
It's not
this is
motionable.
just a presentation
Oh,
for the time being. One thing, just to kind of remind you all that you had asked for, some of the discussion with parks in general is making kind of a comprehensive list of all the different parks and things that you would like to see or add. And I'm not sure if that would fall into this category, but for the purpose of tonight's meeting, this was just a presentation. We can certainly,
I thought it was on the agenda. We could vote. Sorry.
no, that's quite all right. If, it would have to be listed as consider motion to recommend approval in order for it to be voted on.
So can I recommend that gets put on the agenda for next month?
Yes. That's why I brought up the list of all of the parks. There's been discussions of going to visit the other parks and.
I think when we were talking about that, it was the big capital type of things.
Sure.
Putting a high. This is pretty, if the mulch is available and City Works can do it for relatively no cost, I don't know if that needs to go on that big
So
master
do we
plan.
know what they're pulling out of the square? What pieces? Like, is there something we can put in there right away when the path goes in?
I do not know.
I don't know if that was
I don't know if it
100% decided
Yeah,
upon.
I think it was,
There was like an amount of money, and then I don't even know if we have exactly the pieces that are gonna go in it.
Because we don't know.
Maybe,
We don't know at
not
all
particularly.
what's going on across the street.
So,
Which brings up one other thing. Sorry.
no, I mean, we could always put that as an option.
Put up the expenditures. We don't know exactly how much money we have at all. That would be helpful.
starting July 1st, starting to report it,
Well, yeah, whatever, but my point is that we have no numbers or guesses or.
Yeah, I'm trying to think
why
what
we haven't had
exactly,
that.
why you have it?
Yeah.
Well, we just amended the 16-17 budget
Okay.
last council meeting. I don't think that means that ours, the budget was amended. I think I could take a stab, but I won't.
Sure.
But I think that's something we can, certainly for the next meeting, I can ask Lindsay just to shoot us. Operational expenses were
Sure.
last for that, trees and
improvements.
just different things. I mean, because the playground equipment's going to have to be, come out of that
Oh,
as
yeah,
well.
absolutely.
So I think we have a better idea of what's
Sure.
needed too. So why don't we maybe put on for next.
Okay.
The 16-17.
I will leave that drawing and if you want to run it by Public Works or Mr. Mahana or council or whatever, that way they know what's coming up if you guys are talking about it.
Thanks, Ken.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Don't go too far, you're back up again for
Oh.
tree board liaison?
I'll come back. My name's Ken Morris, I'm the tree guy.
New hat.
Yeah, new cat. EAV update. There was an article in the paper dated July 2nd. Emerald ash borer found in 2 more counties. State officials say an invasive insect that kills ash trees has been discovered in 2 more Iowa counties in southeast Iowa. That means emerald ash borer is now in more than 1/3 of the state's counties. Iowa Department of Agriculture said Friday the insect is confirmed in Brighton, in Washington County, in Birmingham, and Van Buren County. That brings the number to 34 counties with confirmed ash borer populations, infestations. The first was detected in Iowa in 2010. The insect has killed tens of millions of ash trees in 27 states. It's a native insect of Asia and was first reported in the U.S. and Michigan in 2002, thanks to the Chinese friends. Trees can be injected with a treatment that helps prevent ash borer infestation through the end of August. I spoke with Scott Kluver regarding the treatment of the trees on the square. He was trying to get that lined up to be done this week. We're waiting on that.
And how long- I know we treated the sports complex.
Sports
last year.
complex.
And how long is the treatment good for?
It's a
again?
2-year treatment.
2 years.
So again, in looking at your budget 2 years out,
That's why I
we're
was-
looking at the same number.
Thinking when we were just talking about.
I mean, if we get on down the road, because the cost of treatment goes up, if we have certain trees out there that don't look like they're worth saving, then you stop the treatments and remove them. It is, try to save the best trees. In that regard, I had a call regarding trees out here at the at the square and the new playground equipment out there, and agreed that there's a large elm tree right here on the north side of the square that needs to come out. The roots are all up through the ground. It's going to cause problems with the new equipment, so that tree's coming out. There's also a small ash tree there that doesn't have any good shape, or it's not worth saving. If we've got the crew in there taking out a big tree, it doesn't cost much to take out a little one, and honestly, it probably won't cost much more to remove that tree than it would cost to treat it. If it had good growth, I would defend it, but it doesn't. And then also there's a small blue spruce over there at the square. All 3 are tied into the playground equipment project over there. So that's over there. Also, we didn't have a meeting in June, and I meant to bring it up. I would have brought it up at that time. Becky, would you just make sure, and I think that they are, but just make a note to Public Works to make sure that they're watering the new shrubs that we put around the gas plant building
Okay.
here at the corner of Parker and Phillips.
Okay.
Yep. And I think they've been doing that, but that needs to be watered this summer. That's all I've got.
So a couple things.
Yes, sir.
So with these being removed for the project over there, is there opportunities for new plantings?
Yeah.
Have you already worked with them on?
I talked to John a little bit about it. When the new equipment goes in, we're going to plant at least a tree in that far corner of the square. And actually, when this big elm comes out, it's going to really free up. There's a crimson maple back in there that will it'll do a whole lot better without that elm hanging over it. So I don't know that we necessarily put anything there, but on the far corner, we definitely will put something in there to put some shade on that playground equipment, and we're just going to pick our spot for that. So
Okay.
we're working on it.
Great, thank you. And then out at the complex, that row of trees are beautiful. We all know that, especially in the fall.
Yes,
In thinking about the future,
yes.
is there room to start potentially planting for replacements, another row or something like that to, in case down the road there's, that one's not looking too good, we can take it out so that we're not.
I would be hesitant to do that, Sam. A lot of
I just
people
don't know how
go
much
in
room there is. That's
well,
the
they
thing.
park.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Yeah.
park in there, and the problem, those trees are only like 20 feet apart or something like that, 25 feet apart, whatever it is. The problem is if you put new growth, new plantings in there, it compounds the removal of the ash trees and increases the cost of removal
Okay.
if and when that happens.
Okay.
So I would say no. I probably would. Now the only thing that I would say that would maybe be the other side of that would be, I don't know whether we can plant on the ditch side of that fence. If we can plant ditch side of the fence, then yes, and you're far enough from the ash trees, and they can remove the ash trees from the sports complex side. I don't know if we can plant if that's considered right of way or not. Becky, would you maybe look into that?
Yeah.
At the sports complex, between the fence and Bridge Road, if we can plant in that ditch close to the fence line.
I'm just thinking, like I said, if a couple of years from now, it's not looking so good, treatment's not going so well,
Probably gonna happen. That's probably what's gonna happen.
so instead of putting ourselves behind the 8 ball then
Right.
and catching up, if we can get preemptive and
Yeah. The only
that road,
place-
it's great right there. It's a
It
nice
is.
entry.
It is.
Complexes, really stands it out. So.
Yeah. All the trees out at the sports complex, back behind that diamond there in the southwest corner, of the complex out there. There's some nice big trees growing on the backside, starting to put some shade on the bleachers and so forth. And we've been planting trees out there for pushing 20 years. It's starting to show. It takes time. So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I got.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Questions?
welcome.
Ken? Okay, good. Dave, liaison report?
Just a couple quick things. I don't know how many people have been to Dock Simmer to kind of see they put the split rail fence up there with the sign. It looks really nice. There's kind of a distinct barrier, I guess, between where you can park and the neighbor's yard. So I think it looks really nice, and it's cleaned out nice. So it's again ready for that next step whenever that time may be.
Speaking of mulch paths, we talked about putting a path kind of in there, but then just ending it when it gets into the park. I haven't been up there, so I didn't know if that had.
They haven't done that. I was up there recently. It does look really nice, but no, that has not.
Yeah, because we talked about just putting a path like from where you can park down in there and then just ending it so it gets you down to that back area and then just kind of ending it and letting it open. So,
That'd be a better idea.
I mean, we can look at that maybe too. If we decide to go forward with linear park and they're going to be out mulching and doing that, it might be a good idea that would be a quick and easy right down into there. So.
We need that as a vote item next time. Just like this one.
I'm sure, probably. I don't know, what are your thoughts about that?
Well,
we talked about it when we walked through that.
Gotta look and see what the option is, I guess,
Yeah.
as far as I'm sure Public Works can do that, but I hate to speak for them, and then
Right.
what the thoughts are, if there's things we're not thinking of that
Yeah.
vehicles.
So maybe we
need
can
to
check with them,
approve.
maybe we can check with them on that. They had alternate plans or
That
whatever.
option.
Sorry to interrupt, but
No,
while we're talking
no.
about.
And the last Plat 3 of Lost Lakes has been presented and approved by council, so that the park area will be kind of, I guess, handed over don't know what exact the date is, but they ended up not giving the full, what they're supposed to give with each of the per acre, or per household. And just as an FYI, I've asked that we look at the park dedication model again. They could just pay, it was like $8,000 to not have the complete dedication, which I don't like at all. I think
That's an easy way out for them.
I just don't see the value in that whatsoever. So I have asked Gary to look into how we do that now, and that now be an option moving forward. That it has to happen. It's not just, oh, if it
Where's
works.
the 8,000 go? Because at least you'd like to see it go to the park.
Well, I think that's what they said in
Get out.
the council, the packet was to go back into, the park or whatever. I mean, I don't know if it was specifically that park, but that would make sense. But
Yeah,
I just think it's completely against what we're trying to do here.
Yeah,
So
don't
in
like that
lieu
either.
of land, they can give a portion, rather than in lieu of land, they can give cash. That's what it comes down to.
so they sell that lot instead of giving it to park ground. They're probably making more money by donating the cash.
Yeah, without question.
So yeah, I think that would be a great idea to bring that back to
Yeah.
It's
look
Makes
at
no
it
sense.
and get
Yeah,
rid of
it's-
that. Yeah, get rid of that.
makes no sense to me. Just so an FYI, just so the commission knows that that's well aware of that being an issue, setting wrong precedent.
Nope.
And that's all I have.
Any questions for Dave? No. Staff report?
The only thing I have, and Ken actually touched on this, the 2 trees.
Yes.
I was gonna let you guys know that those 2 trees would be removed, so thanks, Ken.
Glad to break the news.
Yeah, and it looks like that's gonna start September 6th, so right after Labor Day. And the removal of those 2 trees would be at a cost of $1,800.
If it's that big elm?
It's a big tree.
That's cheap.
If it's that big elm, yeah.
That's cheap for that.
Thank you. Public Works report, do you have anything from Public Works?
This was kind of,
That was Public Works and your combined, all right.
that's right.
I don't see anything on for the commission report. Does anybody have anything for the good of us?
Has there ever been a survey or anything done, like just try to get community members to do it, like what do you want at parks?
Bill, was that?
Well, I think the bond, I don't know if the bond had any survey, the bond referendum, if it had any surveys associated with
I think it was
that at all.
deciding about, do we go with the pool or not? I think there was
There was
an,
nothing like activity.
yeah, I think it was an unofficial type of thing, but I don't know if we've had an
Iowa State
activity
did
one for a
one.
while.
5 years ago, that 5 or 6
Yeah,
that
about
identified what the community maybe needs, and I think there was a survey involved, but we've changed so much between that time that the demographics were a different community than we had been.
Yeah. I don't think any survey was done, not that I recall, in regards to any type of bond, and I think those are 2 separate issues.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, yes, about 5 years ago, it was a survey done. The response was not good, and I can't even remember.
We had a couple meetings with it too.
Yeah, we did. I mean, they talked about, I remember one of them, skateboard park, pool, and a couple of other things, but those are the only 2 things that come to mind. Or some sort of rec center, I think that was what it was.
With our new and improved website, is there an opportunity to do any type of poll or
As long as
Even just like survey monthly.
right
is that-
survey, something like that, and link it to our,
we just need to know what's the end goal, and then we can work backwards on what questions need to be asked to get to that. So that would be great.
that's why I was like, oh, do I have a
Work on it a
bond?
little bit.
If you want to.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure that,
I think
Jake
there's some
would be
adult
happy.
activities on there too. That was like a missing thing.
Elderly.
It was, it was activities for adult, like wellness programs and like
That's right.
educational stuff. Now it's all coming back a little bit. age. It kind
Well,
of
and I
fits in
think
with
the
the old
like
guys where we're
workout
going.
stations are a great idea for that place. That's like would people, do they think they'll use it? You know, because me, I personally, like, I would like to, but I would want to go at dark.
Mosquitoes.
Well, I know
Yeah,
they're doing like now there's the morning educate or the morning activity thing. They're exercising outside now and stuff like that. So I mean, people they're
yeah,
doing it. I think it's just
yeah,
I think but it's a great idea to resurvey because we have
Well,
changed
yeah.
dramatically.
And if we got feedback, like people want classes and things, like even though we don't have a Parks and Rec director, can we like, you know, find someone like Terry that does adult programming or things like that? I mean, if we can make
Yeah.
summer rec work, can we make,
That was right.
Other things.
You're right. It was adult programs, you know, basketball.
Yeah.
Pickleball came out.
elderly,
Yeah, good.
and it was a lot of just educational. And that's where we missed the boat on, not missed the boat, we're just kind of in that between area of Park and Rec, somebody that can manage that and being able to put out the programs that we know we need, but we don't have the infrastructure or somebody in place to execute. So
Well, that's where I think you, maybe you survey, maybe, you know, volunteer. Somebody teach a class on,
or, yeah, and then I know in Ankeny, they have a lot of exercise classes through community ed. So I
yeah.
mean, maybe something we can't do, you find an avenue to do it somewhere else, but
I think that's all great, great feedback, and the more we can offer, the better. It goes to the wayside if we're not thinking about it constantly. So thanks for bringing that back up.
So could you have something next month?
yeah, I can work on some questions.
50 questions?
Yeah.
Because if not, it'll be like what you said. If we don't like
Right.
do it, it'll probably be, oh, yeah, no, I talked about it. It'll be another month. So that's great. Thank you for volunteering. It's like, man. Any other discussion points? All right. Well, if not, our next meeting set for August 1st. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Not my phone. Do I have a real motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob. Second? All right. There was a couple seconds. Did you pick one? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. See you next August 1st, 6:37.
Good.
You did very good. You had your record. You missed your record.
Well, somebody shattered my record. They got 6:10.
Yeah.
Yeah, Audrey was looking at one day.
There was like, there had to be nothing on the